In the previous video, we guided you through the process of creating an API product that provides a virtual interface to a physical target endpoint using Akana's orchestration capabilities. In this guide, you will learn how to secure access to this API and the data it returns. In other words, we will adjust the API product configuration so that it will only accept requests from authentic, authorized clients. Log into your Akana API portal. In the top-level menu, click APIs. Click the All APIs option. We will use the Customer Manager API product that we created in the previous video. In the left menu, click Implementations. Currently, this API product has only been given a sandbox implementation. Access to real production data should be done through the live implementation, which can be added to the API product in due time. Click Sandbox. Click Edit to modify the implementation details. Uncheck Allow Anonymous Access. Unchecking this setting means that the API will only accept requests from authorized clients from now on. Click Save to save the change made. Next, click Policies in the left menu. Click Edit to get access to the Select Policies page. Click Attach with the Atmosphere Application Security Policy to associate this policy with the API. This policy requires the client to provide an authorization header with a specified value as part of the API request. Click Save to save the policy setup. Your API has now been secured with a client authorization policy. To show you how this would work, let's look at it from a client app developer's perspective. A client app developer is a user with a distinct role. Let's log out and log in again as a user with just this role. We will log in as a user that represents a client app developer. To log in, the client developer enters the username and password. The client developer logs into the API portal. The developer clicks APIs to retrieve a list of available API products. We will now create a contract between the API and an app that represents the client application. Such a contract allows the Akana API gateway to identify the client as an authentic client when an API request is made. From the API's overview page, the Access button opens the API access page. An app can be selected by opening the list of available apps, or search for a specific one. The app with which a contract is to be established is selected from the list. The implementation endpoint for which the contract is created can be selected. In this example, there is just the sandbox endpoint. Click Save to save the contract. For a sandbox endpoint, this will result in a contract that is automatically activated. To verify that the client can now access the API, return to the API and click Test Client from the left menu. This API operation needs a path parameter. The request must be made by an authorized client, a client that has an active contract with the API. Click Setup to select a contracted client. Review the client details and click Save to confirm that this is the client we like to use. Through the Security button, we can inspect any conditions required by security policies attached to the API. In this case, the test client automatically provides some default settings to help satisfy policy requirements. Clicking Next accepts these settings. Clicking Finish completes the client and policy setup. We should now be able to successfully call the API. Let's check. We see here that the request was accepted by the Akana API gateway. The client was confirmed to be an authorized client. Once the response is returned, we can inspect some execution steps from the Trace tab. It will show the client identity associated with the request and the value computed for the authorization header. Also, next to the message payload, request and response headers can be reviewed. This guide covered the steps to configure client access control on an API using Akana policies. In addition, we demonstrated how this configuration would affect runtime access sought by a client application.